But then to the side of that, you've also got the pitch here and here, and then you've got the actual parameters for the actual sim. So this is your noise, and this is your filter. And we're going to look at this in more detail, but these are your settings that you're hopefully a bit used to now on the ES2. Cut-off, resonance, you have a separate filter for the noise, and then you bring it all to the mixer. This area here mixes them all together, but it's also where the filter is, and the distortion, and your routing system as well. So then you can route it to your output, and the output's got EQ built in, and it's got panning built in, which you can modify, and then it's got remodulation, which is something that you might not know about yet, but it's basically taking a volume of a sound, turn it on and off really, really fast, so fast that it becomes audible as an actual frequency. And then we've got your envelopes. So this is your controller. So it's a bit different from the ES2. 4 envelopes and 2 LFOs. And again, the LFOs are in blue, the envelopes are in blue, but when you look at it here, all your controllers come up in blue, and then you have these via things. Now you've seen these before. This is basically, not that one, this is basically this. So if I go back to ES2, it's this stuff here. So you've got your target, your source. So if I go target's cut off 1, and then you've got your via, it's a velocity. So how hard you hit the key depends on how open that cutoff will be by envelope 2. So envelope 2, this one here, is going to control the cutoff amount, so this amount here, open up and down by how hard I hit the key. So you've got that control. That's exactly what this is for. We're going to look at detail in that. So you've got the same thing, velocity, how hard you hit the key, how much actual bend you want that pitch to go up and down by using envelope 3. So it's a bit more of a modern synth as well, so we're going to look at that. It's also got a drum machine down the bottom, so you can actually trigger off, you can actually put stuff in here. You can put stuff in. And then you can switch to the actual pattern mode, so you can see your whole pattern. You know, you can just go. You just go a bit random. So you can kind of go a bit mad with it. But the idea here is that you have these patterns here, but then you can go into more detail. If you look, when I go to main kick, here's your main kicks. You can choose how long the note is, the velocity, the volume of it, but then you can get crazy with this. You can literally start going into the actual parameters, so you can actually start changing. And this is where it's different, because if you look at this, let's take off that mode for a second. When you look at this, all those settings are for that one key. So this is like having an ES2 synth on every single note. A single ES2 synth for every single note on the keyboard. So it's very powerful in that sense. You could even use it for your, and a lot of people do, you could use it for your big dubstep bass lines where you have each pitch slightly different kind of wobble or slightly different distortion. So you know, you go wobble, 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 yeah, and all these different pitches will come up depending on what you press on the keyboard. So that's cool. I've used it for stuff like that in the past, and it's quite good for that kind of stuff. So let's reset this. So if I go, where's it gone? I always forget where the actual full reset is. It should be here. There's reset, but that's not that reset. That will just give me. Oh no, there you go. So even though these are still cold stuff, which it should be, they're actually all sine waves now. So everything on here is a sine wave. So even though I'm pressing different keys, I'm actually triggering different samples here. And just to finish off on that drum machine thing, every single parameter here can be affected per drum hit. So you can literally change the pitch of your drums for different parts of the actual arrange pitch. So you can like have a kick drum. So let's get a kick drum going. So ignore this for a second. Let's get our kick drum going. Let's go to the full view. Right click on here. When you right click, so not everything in Logic is right clickable, but there's quite a lot of stuff here that is. So you can clear your patterns. We need to do that for every single one. So you can clear, come on, clear the pattern. And there is an option somewhere at the top.
It's down the bottom.
Is it down the bottom?
It's where it says pattern. Left.
Yeah, there we go. I always forget where it actually is.
Well, that bit over it here. Right there.
Cool. Okay, there's a close hole pattern. So I know it's when you know that many simps, you always get a bit lost at first. It's like a bit, you know, can't always get it straight away. So one thing you can do here is we can put a kick drum in. Now it's not going to be a kick drum yet. It's going to sound pretty. Not a bad kick drum, but then you can actually reset this. So when you do this, so the rest of them are sine waves. But when you right click on this, you can initialize it to be, say, a snare. Now that snare there, that's made from white noise and sine waves. So that's your classic 808, 909 drum machine snares. And that's made without any samples. Well, I hope it is. Normally it is. It sounds like it is. Let's have a look. Yeah, so sine wave. Well, that's off. This one's on. Sine wave and white noise. If I take the noise off, so that's actually just a sine wave now. A very short sine wave. It's got its volumes being manipulated by envelope 1. And its actual pitch is normal, it's just F2, so we can change pitch. Now I can turn this from a snare into a kick drum, so let's put it quite low. And you go, oh that's a bit low, I can't really hear it. But one of the things about kick drums is, and we've kind of gone through this with sound a little bit, when you hit an instrument with a driver, so you hit it with a plectrum or a string bow, or you hit it with your voice when you blow into a flute, you excite that whole area, the whole string vibrates really crazily, very chaotically. Or actually, when you blow, you get loads of white noise, but the stuff that doesn't die out straight away is the stuff which is sympathetically resonating with the string. So the string will wobble up and down, and it will find its own mode, its own relative mode. Kick drums have the same thing. Kick drums start with a lot of high frequencies and they fall down to their lowest pitch very quickly. So what we do is we can literally get this and we can go to the envelopes. You've got 4 envelopes here. And you'll probably find that envelope 4 is controlling the overall volume of the whole sound. It doesn't have to, but it normally is set up for that. In fact, sorry, it does have to. It does have to control it. So envelope 4 is kind of always tied in to this. So if I was to take my sound and do, let's slide this out like this, put it down there, let's do it, take off velocity, I know why, so I'm not on the right sound, here we go, initialize sound, which one is this actually playing? So you can audition them here. So this one should be silent. I'm on the ES2 on, that's why. There we go. So this one here, there we go, initialize sound. So we've got no sound, let's turn this on, turn up the volume. Just want to make sure that this is working. So here's my envelope. As long as I don't have this one on, so turn this off. And what I want to show you guys is that you can treat it like a normal synth, so you can use your envelopes here. So this is now envelope 4. That's what I've got selected here, and I'm controlling the volume of the whole sound. So even if I had like the white noise in, let's turn these off, so it's all completely off. Turn the filter off. So this is my whole sound now, is controlled by the volume of this. So let's put this back to something kind of normal. Turn the white noise off. Now I'm going to just give you a little lesson on synthesis. So we've got our sound, we want a pure sine wave. So we've got a snare as well, that's still a snare, but this one here is now, this is going to be our kick drum. So I'm just going to call it kick. Kick from a sign or kick sign. And now we select our pitch and we have to choose an envelope, one of these envelopes to be our actual controller for the pitch. So let's try this. So envelope 1. So all this kind of, most of your kick sounds, most of your classic kick sounds are just sine waves. And all you've done is you've took the initial part of that sound and put it super high in pitch and dropped it down in pitch very quickly, following an envelope's line like this. So this envelope here, I can do something to make this a bit more obvious. If I do this, you should hear it go up in pitch. So I'm low pitch to high, and then back down again. Let's try and find it, put it on the screen. So just to give you an idea of what it's doing. So it goes from the initial pitch, so you chose the pitch here. So I chose the initial pitch to be D1. We can make that lower. We can make the pitch it's going to go up to really high. So, you know, we can do this kind of stuff. So we can make that longer. So that's 1 second now. So does this make sense? I'm getting envelope 1 and I've told it here, envelope 1, that's what I want you to control this with. And then you choose how much you want the envelope to open the sound. So if you have that on 0, or if you have it on literally nothing, it won't do anything. So as we bring this up, envelope 1, you'll hear the pitch go higher and higher, like that. You can even do it backwards, so you can put this really high, so it sounds like this, and then go. So now we're doing it backwards. So I'm not trying to make drum sounds here yet, I'm just showing you what it's doing, how it's controlling. This is what all synths do. The ES2 has this stuff. So you get an envelope, you go to the ES2, and let's get the ES2 up again. So with the ES2, you've got exactly the same kind of stuff. You choose your cut-off point, and then you choose your envelope you want to control down here. So that's, say, envelope 1, and then you choose how much you want it to be controlled by it. So let's not do cut-off, let's do pitch. So do pitch, pitch 1. So it's going up and down in pitch, and the amount is there, and you can make it go backwards. So we'll come back up. We'll make it go up, then back down again. So there's our wave alarm. So let's go back to this. So that's not what we want it to sound like. So let's bring the attack all the way to, so it starts really high pitch and comes down, oh in fact it's backwards, isn't it? So let's put this up and down. Anyone know what people classically call this kind of kick drum?
So just an 808.
808 drop, yeah, it's an 808 in that sense. Because it drops in pitch, and it's just your classic kind of sound. People tend to like them a lot. They haven't been used so much recently, but I mean, you know, if you then distort this, yeah, so you start getting stuff like that. So you can, you know, you can now. Can you see what it's doing to the waveform as well? See, it starts with a pure sine, and that's as pure as notes you can get, except for the pitching. And as I do this, see the waveform squares off. So, what happens when you square off a waveform? I mean, if you take any sine wave and you change the shape of a sine wave even the tiniest bit,
does it add frequencies?
it can only add higher frequencies. So when you distort a sound, they literally mean distort in the same way that a mirror distorts an image. So if you go to a hall of mirrors and you suddenly have like a really tiny mid-waist and really long head and stuff because the mirror's distorted you, that's what they mean by that. And if you get a sine wave and you take that pure shape, you take this shape here, and you literally change that in any way, the only thing that can happen is new sine waves appear, and they're higher up, and they're normally related somehow to the fundamentally original frequency. So it's always musical normally.
And harmonics.
It's so you're literally adding harmonics to this sound. So if I bring in the EQ, let's just bring in the channel EQ, and you're just adding in, and you can even see the sound drop. It's not brilliant on this analyzer. Let's just turn that one off. So it's single note, and then bring up the distortion. That kind of stuff, but you can also, now we can manipulate this even more. And some of this stuff can be modulated. So you could have your kick drum like this. So let's put the envelope back on. Zoom in a little bit so you can see this a bit better. So make it quite bright, and this is what I mean. This is why people love analog synths for drums, because if you're making this kind of kick drum rather than a sample, you really have full control. This is as malleable, as controllable as possible.
How do you work out the pitch of drums?
Without telling you, because this tells you here, but if you mean it,
it's got the pitch. Oh, right.
It tells you here.
Right.
If I was doing it on a real drum or on a sample, I would bring up a decent analyzer, not this one. I'd bring up an analyzer that has this stuff built in. So we've got a few options here. There's a free one by a company called Melder who do one that actually gives you the note. So the strongest fundamental, it hovers the note over the top of it. Or the Boxenga one isn't too far off that, but you do have to do a little bit manually. So this plug-in here, we put this on high resolution. So the note it falls to is D2. Can you see down at the bottom here? So look on that area. Oh, now it's on to the top. Right, here we go. Depending on how high up I go or how low I go. So now it's at the top. You see it's thinking it's about D2. Right at the top of the screen. Yeah. D2. 73 Hz. 73.5 Hz. So that lets me know. You can even, with this one, you can, so it's only on the EQ. You can even, on the EQ version, you can see bands. It shows you octaves, or it shows you where the kick drum normally is, where the snare is, where the hi-hats are. Shows you little graphical overlays. This one doesn't.
Is there frequency charts for the notes?
Yes, there is. You can buy them online, or you can get one like the one we've got in the studio. In the Studio B, on the wall, is that really colourful one from Sound & Sound? Right. So you can order that for a few quid. I think it's quite a good one. Okay, so let's go back to synth. So yeah, all that stuff about drums. We're going to do some production stuff. Once we've covered all this, we can get into some, a little bit of production and teach about it. It's really important in a lot of styles of music to make sure your kick drums, if they are long, because this is the thing. This is the difference between tonal sounds and transient sounds, is that a sound that has a tone is long enough for the human ears to pick up on a sine wave oscillation, up and down, and go, that's a note there, that's a low note, that's a C. And if you have a snare drum, snares are quite short normally, and a very broadband noise, and you don't have a particular note to it. So that's where we have drums and instruments. That's why they're two separate categories, and it's important to think about it like that there is a separation between short sounds that have a lot of transients and then sounds that actually make up the melody. And that's why we can have drums quite chaotic and have synthesizers still playing over the top without too much problems. But if you're using drums that are quite long and have a pitch, and all drums do have a slight pitch to them, you do want to try and tune that drum as much as possible to fit the key of the song. So if you have a song that has, you know, a very strong root in a G, then try and get your kick drum to be in the key of G. Hopefully G, or if not G, then a D, or well, probably a D in that sense. So if you take the chord G, B, D, like that, you know, you kind of want it to kind of fit in with that. And it will sound, your whole song will have more weight to it. Okay, so we've got our kick. We can automate this distortion. So let's see what that does. So let's go to envelope 2, assign that to there. So where do I assign that to this symmetry? Has anyone got feeling this yet? Do you know how I would do that? Which bit do I click on? So
Mod.
Symmetry. Yeah, so where it says mod, and you can tell because it's blue. So the, you know, all of these controllers are blue. In fact, instead of using an envelope, let's use, what else can we use here? What else is, yeah, it's like a James Bond film when we're kind of like, the intro credits, there it is. So LFO1, let's get LFO1 on here. So this is what we've got. We've got LFO1, LFO2, envelope 1, 2, 3 and 4, and max. Now the max I'm not going to explain yet, but the max gives you the option to adjust what you're doing to velocity. So we're going to look at that and say it's quite cool. In fact, I'll do it very quickly now. So without the max, the velocity does nothing. So I can hit the soft or heavy, it doesn't do anything. But if I put the max on and by velocity and turn the maximum amount all the way up, so if I hit it, in fact this is the opposite way around for some bizarre reason. So there we go, gentle. So the harder I hit, the more this asymmetry is turned up and down. Have some fun with it in that way, and you can then program this on here so they don't all have to be something silly going on. In fact, if I right click this, you can just randomize it. So and you can randomize it here as well. Creator in place randomly. And then you want to randomise the velocity. So there's a lot of creative tools in there. And just as a quick thing, because we are going to look at this again, if you really like that pattern, you can do something pretty cool. You can go down here, you can grab it, it says drag to arrange, you can drag it onto here, and it creates a MIDI file for it. Now when you do that, there is one important thing you have to do. What do you have to do? Anyone know what you have to do?
Turn it off.
Turn it off.
I'm just checking. Some of you have used this enough now to know that. You've probably learned the hard way maybe that you have to turn it off and you're like, why am I getting the sound twice? If you don't turn it off, you get the pattern played twice. So you turn it off here. So
when you drag it into the MIDI arrange page then,
yeah.
does that sound, all those sounds are fixed?
They're going to be fixed to the actual song, but you can just go in there and edit them. See, the velocities have been brought up as well, so you see everything's followed what I've got here so far.
One thing about Ultrabeat, can you map, like, just say you've got adjustable knobs on your keyboard and that, can you map like the modulation or stuff like that, so to it or not?
You can to an extent, yeah, that comes under, it comes under the same kind of stuff as a normal logic automation, which is a little bit limited unless you go in and really fully set it up. But it's somewhere we're looking into all that stuff as well, because there's like quite a lot of stuff to cover on that. The easiest way to do it first is probably, yeah, see here we've got these ones here. So if you go via any control, you can have control A, B, C and D. and then you can go up to the top here, and you can choose what A, B, C, and D are.
Oh, right, I see, sweet.
So that gives you 4 controls. So it's not full control, but it's 4 more than you had before.
Yeah.
And that's only via the this thing here. So you have to use the mod. So if I do max here and control 1, which is mod wheel, put the max up to full, and then let's bring it down in pitch. Should I? Here we go. So that's why. So I'm using the mod wheel to change the pitch in that sense. It's a bit frustrating because you can't have everything. So I'll put it back to envelope 1. Let's take the asymmetry stuff off, so it's just a clean wave. Those kind of distorted bass drums seem to divide you guys off. Well, normally in lessons, half of you like distorted bass drums, half of you hate them. So I'll take it off for now, do half the lesson with it on. So I can still use Control A. I'm not doing that with velocity anymore, I'm doing that with my mod wheel. You could record that in, so you could do most of the stuff you wanted to do with that. So let's go back to our drum synthesis. So in fact, I need to take these off. In fact, I'll leave them on, because they actually work quite well. So back to the synthesis side of things. So we've just looked at one of the oscillators, and this is why this lesson is going to take a few goes, because there's quite a few things. So this is what we call a phase oscillator. It's called a phase oscillator because we can distort the shape of it and its phase in various different ways to get slightly different sounds. It's a shame that not everything is controllable, like you can't automate that or this one. So
could you, with saturation though, could you not, with Apple L, could you not assign
you could do it, you could do normal automation, yes, that's a good point. You can do traditional automation, will come up in Logic as a control. But, as far as I know, you have to remember though, that you've got that for every single one of these. So this is a different saturation, that's a different one. So if we go, let's just have a look. Automation, bring it up here, Ultrabeat. Yeah, there you go. So voice 1, oscillator 1, filter FM, voice 2. So you have to remember that there's a lot of voices, 25 voices, and then you've got the one on there. A lot of stuff to go over. Yeah, the GUI, graphical user interface, the GUI. And okay, so any questions so far? I'm just going to move on and set to the noise oscillator. I want to give you an idea of some of the classic drum stuff you can do. So I think you guys should have a go at doing some of the classic drums.
I've had a look at this before. The one thing that always confuses me on this is using this in your basically range page. Do you get basically a pattern together and then, like you said, drag the pattern in and then move it around if you need to?
Well, it's obviously completely up to you. There's 2 really strong ways of doing it. There's one way is to use this, and the thing about this is it's very different from entering keys in the keyboard. Have you guys tried using this bit as well quite a lot then? Or? It's very different, isn't it, from entering notes. It's not necessarily better, but you can do interesting things. I mean, the fact is you can, very quickly do quite a few notes at once, you can change the lengths, and then you can do these interesting things where you can start automating parameters. So I can choose that pitch here, and then I can start literally putting in pitch controls, and it lets me, it normally does. You can start editing the pitch controls here.
Can you that perimeter offset?
It's weird, it's normally not got that strict.
Oh yeah, so
Oh, the whole thing's off, isn't it? There you go.
Have you tried turning it on yet?
So, it's still not letting me do it. It's been a while since I've jumped into this. So swing off, I don't want to swing on. That should... I'll try it with the volume control. There you go, so it works with the volume control, and it only ever works on the notes that you actually have. I mean, you can do it here, but unless the note stays long, you won't hear it. So this should, let's take this one off. So we're changing the volume on these first few. Let's do pitch. So let's do some pitch stuff here. Now this stuff unfortunately doesn't get transferred. So that's, obviously quite extreme. Yeah, that's weird that that one's complete. Even when that was on, that wasn't showing for a while. So oscillator level, okay. So we can do stuff like that to it. We can, go to town with it.
And can you program this though also from the piano roll?
Well, you can program all these pitch changes and stuff from the automation, but the actual MIDI editor itself, the piano roll, won't easily let you do that stuff. Because you can only do, in the piano roll, some of you guys, have you guys clicked this button yet?
Yeah.
So, this is velocity, normally that's velocity, but you also have all this stuff here, which is your modulation wheel on your keyboard, it's your pitch bend, it's your expression pedal, sustain pedal, you've got a sustain pedal. So there's lots of different things there, and you can choose one yourself. So you can choose any of the 127 controllers. So these ones here will be on, say, 78. In fact, I'll tell you what they are normally. This one is 16. This one's 17, and so forth. So you can control stuff in the piano roll, but it's low resolution and it's not as easy to control it as going in here and adding the pitch for oscillator 1 like that.
But can you program the beats on your piano roll from this, or is it?
Yeah, you can program the beats. So it's literally, if you go into piano roll and press that key, you'll get that key in that sense. So it does work in a normal way. Just going to initialize this to kick drum. So here's our kick drum. Just to give you an idea on some of the other stuff. So for instance, let's right click on this and turn it into a snare. So initialize snare. Now all that does is it just sets these parameters up for certain things. So there's our snare again. So if I turn off everything but the noise, you hear that on the wrong one, so if I turn off the noise, there's our sine wave, and it's so fast that even though it is a sine wave, you hear it more as, it's got pitch, but it's more like a block of wood or something. It's more like, very simple sound. Then you've got the noise element, so that's a noise on its own. So white noise, it's starting to sound a bit like a clap. Bring in the snare part. So in fact, let me put this back to the kick drum, and then this one here, initialize that to the snare. So we've got a classic drum sounds there, and I can go to my snare here. I can make it longer, so I can find out which one is the actual length. Cool, just 2 more minutes. Yeah, right, so we've got a length. So I made this long, I'm going to make it even longer. So, zoom this out even more. So envelope 1 is our pitch. I want to make this, I'm going to do it by velocity. It's a bit low. Envelope 4, where's the pitch going? It's a little bit low. Oh, sorry, envelope 3. Why is envelope 1 there? Right, so envelope. So I was going to show you some of the asymmetry as well. It's the LFO. So bring the LFO in. You can even sync these up. So LFO 1. just using LFO1 to wobble. And then you can automate on the envelope, so on the automation, that kind of stuff. You can't unfortunately assign that to anything on here, which is annoying, but maybe in the Ultrabeat 2 they do that stuff. Remember, you can also sync it, like everything in Logic. So, I kind of, without hearing the actual metronome, you can get the tempo of the song just from that. You can change this to different types of, you can even do it random. So there's a lot of stuff you can do there. There's 2 envelopes. I'll put it back to you. So, I mean, we haven't even got into the filters yet, or the noise pop day. Haven't got into that. Let's bring this noise into play. Go down a bit, bring that down. So I'm going to open up the filter. Envelope 3. Oh, so envelope 3 is also control. Envelope 2. It's hard sometimes to get there. Right, I'll take that one off a bit. So you can do a lot of stuff with just some simple controls. You can really start to kind of manipulate these. Lost my kick, with my kick down envelope 3. So you can take the noise and get a noisy kick drop. So it's very difficult to get that kind of fine tweaking with anything else. And we haven't even looked at FM synthesis, sidechains. So you can take another sound, like a vocal sound, put it into the synth, and start manipulating this sound using any of these keys here. You can also bring in a sample. So you've got samples that you can load in, or you can do acoustic modelling, which we need to look at, which is where you literally, the computer itself emulates the real world. So it emulates a string or a snare drum skin or all kinds of crazy stuff. So I only wanted to quickly show you around it.